Alright, so welcome back again. My name is Jesse, and in this wonderful and exciting discussion, I'll be sharing with you some interesting topic and some interesting ideas about optimizing trash and optimizing waste. Right, the name sounds very funny, but follow with me. So, what do we mean by optimizing trash and waste? So, this is the simple workflow, right? So, anytime we go to the supermarket, right, we buy stuff. And once we have bought those things, we bring it to the house, and then maybe after some time we return the things that you have bought. So let's say I went to buy bread, something like this, or any other stuff. After I finish using it, after I finish using the product, I put it inside the trash pan, right? And then at the end of the week, or at a certain period of time, then when it's full, I put it inside some box or some place somewhere, and then the Muller man or the recycling man or the transport man comes to pick them away, and then he sends them to a landfill, right? So this is a normal workflow. So I go to the supermarket, I buy some stuff, I bring it to my house. After some time, I use it, and then I put it in the dustbin. Then someone comes to pick it away. This thing here looks very simple, but there's a lot of information you can get from this workflow, right? So you have to understand that everything that is seen as an input, process, output, activity can be seen as a system. And if it's a system, we can optimize it. And then if we can optimize it, we can optimize it for money, we can optimize it for resources, for energy, and for a lot of things. So anytime we go to the supermarket and buy stuff, right, by just checking the trash that we are creating for every household, you can learn, and you can learn a lot of information from that. You can gather a lot of information from just understanding the trash that people are creating, right? Because if I go out and I buy, let's say, a box, right, whatever I'm buying, after I finish using it, I will throw it away. So if you know what I throw away, you can actually predict what I bought, right? So that is so something like this. Yeah, so it's like input, and then process, and time, and then output. So this is how we see system. This is how you're supposed to think in life, right? Most of the case, there's an input, it goes through a process over a period of time, and then produce an output. So in this same case, the input here is that we go to the supermarket to buy some stuff. You buy your products, right, from the supermarket, and then after you have used the product, you now throw it in the bin, right? After you have put it, you just put your product as trash, right? You just put it here. So you went to the supermarket to buy some stuff, and after you have finished using it, that is the process, you produce some trash. Now, if I have the trash, it is possible for me to, in a way, predict this. So if I have this trash, I can predict this, right? So it's possible that if I get all your trash, all the things you have bought over time, and all the things you have spent and you have thrown inside your bin, I can predict what you bought, right? So I can actually predict by studying your trash. I can predict and have an idea of what you bought, because whatever you are throwing inside your bin is something that you bought, right? So that means that there's a lot of information we can get from trash. So even hackers also do the same thing. They go to companies and to companies' trash can, and then they pick the papers that is wasted there, and then they gather information from it, and then they used to hack the company, right? So from your trash, you can get a lot of information from trash, right? And because it's following this system, you going to buy something which is the input, you use that particular item that you bought after some period of time, and then you throw it away. So by understanding your output, I can predict your input. That is how it is. This is the same way you should see most things in life. So let's go back again to optimizing trash, right? So the same way, by understanding or gathering information about what is in somebody's trash, you can gather so much information from it. So that is why it's sometimes said someone's trash is another one's treasure, right? It may look like a funny quote, but it's actually true. Someone's trash, right, is another one's treasure. So trash, and what people think it is trash can also actually be treasure, right? So you should never underestimate trash. So what people think is treasure can actually be, what people think is trash if you know what you are doing and you gather much information about it, you can convert that trash into treasure. And that is what is happening in most companies. So there are some companies that all their job they are doing is that they don't care about what you're buying. All they care is that they come and pick your trash and they make money. How do they make money? They make money in several ways. So one of the ways they make money, trash companies make money, is they come and then they pick your trash and then they send it to a landfill somewhere which is far away, which is they buy it at a cheaper price, and they make money from the transport. So the money they are making is from they carrying your trash, which they did not do, right? Just your trash, what you don't like. They are carrying it to a place they got for cheap, and then you pay them at the end of the month. And because you are paying them at the end of the month, there's a lot of information they can get from that. So there's a lot of information you can get from trash, right? Not just the transport, but also just the trash. And it's like this. You can get more information from the trash if you see it in this way. So just as we have a trash like that, if the trash is not organized, unstructured, you don't get information from it, right? You don't get much. But if you structure it, in which you have a system, in which you have sorted, right? Structured or sorted, in which you have the right trash in the right bin, which is picked at the right time, you can get more information from that. You can do so much from that, right? So in countries that they want to optimize their trash, if they want to make much money from it, they have to start first to get the unstructured trash into a structured form by having a system in which, for example, like in most developed countries and in most developed hospitals, they have different colors and different trash bins for different materials, and because you're able to sort them, it's easy for you to gather more information from that. This is the same idea we have with data, right? If you come to data science, if you go to data science, we have structured data or unstructured data, right? And then you also have structured data. So the same idea is the same thing you can apply here. And then you get more insight from structured data than unstructured data. Unstructured data, people don't respect it, but if you're able to convert the unstructured data into a form of structure, to give it some kind of sorting, some kind of organization, some kind of ordering, you can gather more information from it. You can gather more insight from it, right? So that is how it is. So the same way with trash, if it's unstructured, you don't benefit from it that much. The only benefit you may get is when you are transporting it, right? If you're transporting it from one place to another, and then maybe you get some cash, right, from the transport to another place. But if you structure it well, in which you put the right trash in the right bin, just like in data, if you put the right data or the right waste in the right structure, in the right container, you can gather more information from that. What are some of the things you can gather from this system if you structure it, right? So what are some of the benefits you can get from it? So in every trash, if it is well structured, these are the information you can get from it. So you can get, number one, transport. So waste optimization or waste management industry is not just management of waste, right? But these are the key points there. First, it's a transport problem. It's not just waste problem, right? It's a transport problem. So you have to know which place to pass. So it's something like they call it the traveling salesman problem, right? TSP, or traveling salesman problem, right? So it's this idea, this thing here, right? So just managing of trash and then carrying of trash from one house to another house is a whole big problem, right? It's a very big problem which is being used in any way. So this idea can also be used for Uber, for taxis, for Amazon, for Post. So it's because it's a very big stuff, because you have to know which household to go to save money, right? To save fuel, right? You have to optimize the path to pass to carry all of them. So it's a traveling salesman's problem. You have to also understand how to optimize your fuel and then the right place to pass to be able to gather all the trash without wasting a lot of time, which street to pass. So it's a traveling salesman problem, and it's a transport problem. Again, it's not just management of waste, but it's also a storage problem, right? So you have to gather someone's trash and then find a place to put that trash. So that is also a whole problem. And anytime there is a problem about something, it is money, right? It is impact. Perfect. So if you, in case you want to create a company or something, you can create a company not just on the transporting, but also on the storage of those trash. So that's where we have money from landfills. Very interesting. And the other thing that most people, anytime they think about recycling or trash, they're always thinking about recycling. Recycling is one part of it, and you make the most of recycling if it is not unstructured but structured, because if you put all of them together, it becomes too much work, and then you cannot get the best of it. So the best idea is to structure it. Once you structure it, you sort them into the right containers at the right time. You can easily recycle them. So you can recycle all the plastics back into the system. You can recycle all the papers back into the system. You can recycle the metallic ones back into the system. You can recycle all the bio into biomass and then use it for energy. So there are so many things you can do if you're able to structure them. And it is also not just a transport problem and a storage and a recycling problem, it's also a geolocation problem. The thing people don't know is that anytime the trash man comes to your house to pick your trash, he also have information about your address, right? So it's a geolocation problem, and that is where, in case you also want to see the potential of optimizing the trash to make money, in case you want to keep your hands dirty and then you want to make money, this is where you can also make more money. This is data, right? So if you're able to gather data about, in case that is structured, right? If it's not structured, there's not much you can do, but just like data, if it's structured, you get more information from that. If you are able to gather more information about this structured trash, that is where the optimization of the trash into treasure comes. You make a lot of money. In case you don't want to make your hands dirty with the transport, the recycling, the storage and stuff, you can gather more money from just the data that you get from this system. So what do I mean? So if you're able to get information about what people are putting into their trash, as I said, if you know what somebody placed in their trash, and if it's structured, you can know what they bought, right? So if you can know what you bought, you can store that information as data here, which is very important. So you can call it as like data. So it's just a data storage, right? So you can just store that data. So the data about the trash, and then this data about the trash, by that you can know what the person bought, which is the first one here. You can know their products, package, history. So whatever they have been buying, because if you know if it's sorted well, so let's say on Monday or maybe this week, you saw that the person had so much plastics in their bin, or maybe an area has too much plastics, you can know, okay, this is what they are doing, right? And with that, you can get the package, a form of package history. And if you have the package history of it, remember that every organized developed country has that follows this system. All of the houses, right, have their address. So geolocation. So geolocation means we don't only just have their coordinate, we also have their address. We have their house numbers, right? So the address, house numbers, and then if you have their house numbers, all of them, they have to pay at the end of the year or at the end of the month. They have to pay. So you have their bank info, and then you also have their house number, right? So their name. So with this little stuff from gathering about the trash, right, you get all of this information, and with this information, that is a lot of data, and you can connect the package history from this trash, right? Because if you know that this area, they spend, let's say this particular section of the country, of the area, of the population, they spend this amount of trash for this amount of time, you can, and then you know that there are shops there, right? So let's say there are different shops there, you can gather a lot of information about this, and then in a way predict their packaging history, how much of plastics they buy, how much of bio they buy, how much of metallic stuff they buy, how much of electronics they buy, and when do they buy them, right? So you can get that product packaging history, and then you can sell it. You can sell this product packaging history for money. So you don't only just know what they are buying, you can also know how much they are spending, and then you can sell this information to ads companies, right? So ads, and then you can also sell it you can sell it to ads companies to advertise to that particular section or to that particular country or to that particular population. Because how do you do that? As I said, there is geolocation, and if there is geolocation, you can also get IP, like internet IP address, or what do you call it, internet service provider, right? So with that this particular area has so much trash in this particular aspect, right? You can predict the purchase history, and then you also know this. So you can also get the ISP of the area, right? Because every part of the country have their own IP address, and you can, in a way, find a way of connecting them together. And you can target an ad to this particular IP address based on the product package history, right? Which is a lot of information. So it's just trash that is coming, but because it's sorted, you can gather so much information from this, right? You can gather the package history, you can know how much they are spending, you can now sell that amount of information as ads, and then you can connect the ISP based on the geolocation address that you're getting to be able to do targeted ads to this particular section of the country, to this particular population. And with the same information you're getting, you can also get information like this about the health history, of a population, right? What do I mean by that? Remember that there is also bio here, right? There is bio, so there is a lot of bio and there's a lot of plastics. So you can know how much, and a lot of toiletries like cosmetics. So you can get information here from bio, which is like the food, and then you can also get information from, let's say, toiletries. Toiletry, I can't spell it here. You get my point. Right? You can get information about that, and the same way in case there is waste, right? As in sewage waste from our bathtubs, you can also get information about the chemicals used, and then you can sell these things to factories, right? So in a way, you can, from the trash that people are producing from every household, you can gather the health history of that particular population from the amount of trash they are producing in bio, so vegetables, all of their bios, and then also the other recyclables, or as well as their toiletry, and in case they have wastewater or bath water, if you also collect all of those things, as well as their feces and stuff. It's so funny. It's funny, right? You can gather a form of history about the population of the country, right? Or the population of the population, right? So although it's just trash, we are giving out so much data out if it is structured, right? So you can get the product purchase history, which is very important, and you can use those things to sell as ads to ISP, and then you can do targeted ads to certain countries, to certain populations, certain people, because you also know your address. I don't know whether you have noticed, if you use your credit card to buy stuff in the supermarket all the time, sometimes a certain period of the day or certain period of the week, you start getting ads, right, on YouTube or on Instagram related to what you bought previously. How do they know that? So this is one of the ways, because you have an ISP and then you also bought something in a specific location. All of these things can be connected to gather more information from it without you knowing. Then you can also get health history of the population or people from what they produce. So just like as there's this saying that you are what you eat, right? Input, output. So if you check what somebody is eating all the time, or if you check how somebody is and the waste the person produce, you can predict in a way the health of the person, right? Very, very important. So that is another information. This information you can also sell. You can sell this information to health facilities. You can sell this information. So you can sell it to health facilities. So you can sell it to health facilities, right? you can also sell this information to, let's say, other factories that are into cosmetics, right, for them to know which type of product they should be producing. You can also sell it to FDA and all the other hygiene companies who are into research. And then you can also convert it into biomass, right, energy. So you can also know how to benefit from this stuff there, right? Very interesting. Then, as I said, once you get the package history, everybody's package history is connected to his bank, right? That is how the world is, right? And if it's connected to your bank, you're also connected to your address, your house number and stuff. That information can also be sold to your bank, or you can, even if not sold to your bank, you can connect from your trash some information. Because one of the things I've also noticed that if you buy stuff in some developed countries, they give you a receipt. Inside this receipt, you have the amount of things you bought, right? Your sales or whatever, your sum of package or total sum of package. And this receipt stuff you're having is just trash, right? But if people were able to gather that information from that, they can, although it is anonymized, they can gather, and if the person is serious, they can target someone and know how much the person is spending, right? So you can know their spending history, which is still like the packaging history, and then you can know if the population is going up or not, right? You can also know the economics, so spending, and then you can also predict the economics of the country, right? So in case there is you want to know if the country is moving on, or the particular type of season we are in. For a particular type of season, people buy specific stuff more often, right? So you can also predict and get that information that you are getting from the trash. If you structure it well, and if you use the right system to gather information, to measure information, you can predict the spending habits of people together with information that you can use to help the economics of the country. Perfect. And then the other way is that you can also do ads, as I said, right? So there are so many information you can get from just trash if you know how to optimize it. The optimization comes when we follow the system, right? You know that you understand that this is a system. People go to buy stuff, they use it after a certain period of time, and they throw it away. And then this is thrown away. So you can gather more information in several ways. Either if it's structured, that is where you get the most information, and you gather the information, and then you get a money benefit from transport. So in case you want to have a business idea, you can go into the transport aspect of this waste management system, or into recycling, or to storage, or to geolocation. But the other alternative, in case you want to keep your hands dirty, is to go to this aspect here, data. So how do you do this? So there are several ways you can do that to make it easy. If it is structured, right? If it's structured like this, it is easy for you to use, let's say, machine learning models. You can train machine learning models. You can use computer vision, right? So these are the most important things. So you train machine learning models and computer vision, and then you can put cameras in the vehicles that transport this trash, or you can put cameras in the landfill where they are throwing the things away, or in a recycling factory, whatever it is, right? Or you can even put sensors if you have the money and you have the means. And with all of these things, using machine learning models and computer vision, you can train it to detect. So you can train these computer model systems to do some detection. So they can detect and then sort. So they can do some detections, object detection. And with the object detection, you can gather information here, right? You can also do, let's say, object detection and then classification, right? And then this same idea can also be done for the sorting, right? You sort them into stuff, and then you can just now put them for recycling, right? So with this option, if you train some models, you can do object detection to detect different types of objects, right? And then also classification to classify them, you sort them. Then you can push the right material to the right place, and you can sell those particular byproduct to recycling companies or to different factories to actually recycle it back into the system, right? To produce, let's say in case it's plastic, they can recycle it back into the system. And that is a lot you can also get from this idea, right? So there are so many things you can do just from trash, right? From trash, There are so many things you can do. So this is my idea about optimizing trash, and it's the benefits comes most often if you understand the system and then if you are able to structure it. So countries, mostly in Africa, in which most of the time they don't structure the trash, it can be very difficult for you to gather as much insight. But in more developed countries, not just in Africa but also other countries that are not very developed, that do not follow a structured form of recycling, you cannot make much, right? But you can still make much if you follow this system, if you structure it well. This is just for waste. Now think bigger, not just waste as in trash, but anything that can be seen as trash can also be seen as a treasure. So in other words, if we are talking about what do I mean by that? So if you go back to what can be seen as trash? So the thing that we can see as trash is the normal trash, as we know, like normal trash, right? The ordinary trash, the one that I've talked about, ordinary waste trash, right? As you know, that is one. It can also be turned into a treasure, right, by following the system, as I said. Again, if you take anything like something like, in case you are in an industry, like a car manufacturing industry, so cars, or you can convert all the metals from the cars as waste, which is seen as waste, still the same idea, into treasure, right? Because if you know how much cars are being thrown away, you can gather information about the packaging power of people, how long they use a particular vehicle, and then which sector of the society use this particular type of vehicle, and then you can know how to market it and then target them. That is, let's say, cars. The same way, if you go to a different industry, like let's say blades or wind turbine, in which they recycle, let's say wind turbine, right? So, or let's say wind blades, these things here are thrown away, right? But you still the same thing. It's a trash, but you can also convert it to treasure. So we'll talk about it later. Anything. What else? Let's say feces, right? Fecal waste. The same thing, right? Fecal waste. We can get all the fecal waste from the sewage system. Although it's a dirty job, but you can train system, can train machine learning models. That's why they are there for. They cannot feel, they cannot smell. You train them, and then you can also follow the same idea and gather so much information from that, right? So you can gather information there to know how much people are producing. Although it may look like it's so far-fetched in the future, but you can gather health information about the population, and then you can also use some of this information for biomass energy, right? The same thing with waste, or not just waste, but let's say water waste from our taps, right? So water waste can also be seen the same thing. So if you were to gather the water waste here can be water waste from our sink, or let's say bath, right? You can convert this to this same waste into flushing water, right, for toilet. Or you can also sell the same information you are getting if you train it to identify the chemicals that are used from the soaps, and you can sell all of this information, because anytime you bath, you put away our soaps and stuff. It may look dirty and stuff, but yeah, you can gather information. You can train models, machine learning models from these things, and then computer vision models and other different systems to gather information and then sell this information to say cosmetic factories, and then or FDA or hygiene factories, and then use it for targeted ads and then sell it back again to the system. So there are so many ways you can convert any form of trash, right, or any form of waste into treasure if you know how to structure it well, and if you know how to classify and understand it very well, right? So that is something that I wanted to share with you. I hope you have learned something. So this is the workflow. So to recap, someone's treasure is another man's trash, and someone's trash is another man's treasure. And that is how the universe is. Everything in the universe is like a system, right? Our human body is like a system. We breathe in oxygen and we bring out carbon dioxide, and the carbon dioxide is used by plants, and then they give us oxygen. So it is still optimization of trash. Right, the same way. So if our even human body, we eat, our system processes it, we get it out as feces, it goes into the cell, we get nitrogen and all the different chemicals. It is used by the plant. They produce the fruit we eat. So it is still a form of optimization of all of these things. Right, that's something I wanted to share with you. I hope you have learned something. My name is Jesse, and then see you another time. Stay blessed.